More animals have been classed as endangered on this year's Red List, compiled by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. The study doesn't look at all species, but it does provide a useful snapshot of what's happening in the animal kingdom. Now, out of just over 157,000 species studied, 44,000 are now threatened with extinction. That's 28%. For the first time, the report looked at freshwater fish and found that a quarter are at risk of being wiped out. It's not going swimmingly for the Atlantic salmon either, which was moved from the least concerned category to near threatened. Between 2006 and 2020, its population decreased by 23%. The world's most commercially sought-after timber tree, the big-leaf mahogany, is now endangered. Over the past 2 centuries, its numbers are down 60% in Central and South America. But there have been some conservation successes. The Skimmilar horned oryx is no longer extinct in the wild, and that's thanks to efforts to reintroduce the species to Chad. There are now 140 of the adult antelopes roaming freely in a nature reserve. Craig Hilton-Taylor is head of the Red List unit at the International Union for Conservation of Nature, who compiled this report.
It's not just climate change, it's other threats as well, particularly overuse of species, loss of habitats, invasive species, incidence of disease and so on. But often climate change interacts with those other threats and makes it worse.
There's a huge variety of species and living things under threat of extinction. So is it important or necessary to protect all of them?
It is important because we don't know exactly what role every species plays in the ecosystem and in the services that we depend upon. So it's important to really conserve as many of them as possible, as we possibly can, because they all interact with each other and they all play a vital role in functioning ecosystems. So you might lose one species, might look okay, but at what point do you lose species and then the whole system collapses? So we don't want to have the system collapse. So it's best to then try and conserve everything we have as we possibly can. But
the research that's been going on, certainly into freshwater fish, that's quite new, isn't it? So what particularly have we learned then about the planet's food systems?
Well, with this update, we've comprehensively assessed all the freshwater fish. So that's about 15,000 species, and about a quarter of those are threatened with extinction. And so that's not good news in terms of our freshwater systems, because the freshwater fish play a vital role in maintaining the functioning and the resilience of those freshwater systems. So if we lose those fish, the whole freshwater system will start collapsing, and we're completely dependent on freshwater for our own livelihoods, for our own survival. So the future of the fish are closely tied to our own future.
It's not all doom and gloom, though, is it, that there are some conservation successes?
Yes, there are some great successes. So in this update, we featured 2 antelope species, one from North Africa, one from Central Asia, which have both improved in status. The Skimmilar horned oryx was extinct in the wild. It's now been brought back, reintroduced successfully because of international efforts, good collaboration between international bodies, government agencies and local communities. And this is the 4th large mammal to actually be successfully brought back from being extinct in the wild to being extant again and thriving again. The Skimmilar horned oryx is not thriving yet. There are only 140 that are free-ranging, but it's on the road to success.